In today's video, we're going to talk about how we plan our training year. How we plan our training year, so we try to make sure that we keep progressing with everything that we're doing.
Yep, so it's our first year of training physically and mentally hard
For Hyrox.
So we've always trained, but mostly weights and a bit sporadic.
Yeah.
God, when I think back, I just went through the motions.
Yeah, going through the motions, lifting some weights, doing a bit.
Yeah, so there'll be so many hopefully watching this that did the same until they're introduced to Hyrox, and then that's where, well, I've definitely upped my game.
Yeah, well, before we'd have been very much, when we first started getting into the Hyrox training, it was do some weights, do a bit of Hyrox stuff, do some weights, do a bit of Hyrox stuff. Now it's just, if they ain't Hyrox, or something to help us with Hyrox. And that's what we're going to go through. It shouldn't just be Hyrox. That's what we're going to go through. So the easiest way to plan your training year is to work backwards. So if you know when you've got a race, plan backwards from that race. Let's say you've got a race in October, work out what 8 weeks is back from your race. That's when you start your specific prep. So what's the specific prep?
It's where you go intense, and it's all very Hyrox specific moves ready for the race to perform.
Yeah, the goal of doing the specific prep is to help you peak for that actual race. So there'll be a taper week before, and the 7 weeks before that gradually builds up, and it includes all specific Hyrox stuff. Towards the end, it's going to be some Hyrox simulations. Week 6.
It's very mentally grueling.
Week 6 is tough, yeah.
While you're working and doing things in wood.
Yeah, that's why you have to fit your training in around your lifestyle and how it works for you. So whether you can train 3 days a week or 5 days a week, or some people 6 or more.
You can do more.
The general prep phase is where you're going to work on any fitness qualities that's going to help you get better at what you're wanting to do. So things to include in your general prep will be like aerobic base work. So really building that aerobic base, which has a massive impact on Hyrox. Developing your running speed, strength endurance, just pure out strength if you know you're weak, to build your strength up. But you need to do it in blocks. You can't just be doing a bit of everything. If you just do a bit of everything, you won't keep getting the results you want to get. So when we've done our training, we've done the engine builder.
Mm-hmm.
So what did that consist of?
A lot of long runs, zone 2 training.
Zone 2 stuff, building up that aerobic.
I've enjoyed learning about that. I prefer that stuff.
So you say it's boring.
It's boring.
You enjoy that stuff. You need to still be progressing on something, and normally that's going to be time. And then you build up your speed with it and with the time.
So what did we do? So we did Manchester in the beginning of January. And then after that, we did a 5K developer run training before London. And then we did 4 weeks of specific prep because we're doing the 5K. So we did the 5K run developer, and that was the worst time of my life, if I'm honest.
So we did
I didn't enjoy that one.
Run speed developer, which helps develop your 1K speed, your 2K speed, and your 5K speed.
Yeah.
Which will then have a carryover to when you're then doing Hyrox.
But it works. Steve, you knocked off 2 to 3 minutes off his time.
5K.
Which is mental. He nearly killed himself. I wish maybe insert if I can find it.
Well, me dying on the floor.
It was bad. You were ill all day.
That was max effort. What can I do for 5K? That was on the treadmill, so it is different to doing it out.
Oh, yeah, it was too cold.
Yeah.
And then we did London, and we improved our time by 3.5 minutes, which is amazing, but it's still not good enough in my book. So then we said we're going to do your other plan, which is the engine builder.
Ultimate engine builder.
Yeah. And then you got injured. I carried it on, and I ended up doing a half marathon run.
You did, and did well with it.
I did all right. I was injured then, and I feel like people say, oh, you can't do this, you'll get injured. You're going to get injured anyway. Even if you were training lightly, you still can get injured. I'd rather get injured training hard and doing something than not, and you just have to look after your body more.
You're more likely to get injured when you're pushing yourself. That's why you have to make sure when you're training that there's a balance of difficult days, easy days, recovery days. It can't just be flat out for every session. If you're flat out for every session, if we try to train flat out for every session wouldn't be flat out because we'd never be recovered. You end up not having actually any real proper hard development days because your recovery days you train too hard.
what happened when I did my engine builder, you injured, so you slowed it down. Then I had to slow it down because I started feeling a bit like worn out. And then I just did a, whatever you called it, deload week, and then I was all right.
Yeah, my injury came, the simplest thing fixed my knee. That's just having orthotics. Physio and orthotics have made a big difference.
There's so many things you can do. I had shin splints at the beginning of the year. There's so many things that we've overcome, but that is looking into it, and that's all normal, and it's not stopping us. So
I think that's a lot of going from doing nothing to then, even though we've built it up gradually, it's still a different stress on your body. I'm no spring chicken. So to then be changed up from doing weights to doing more running stuff as well, it is a challenge for your body. It is.
You're like a sloth running.
Was or is.
Did it?
Like a robot.
Yeah, like a robot. Yeah, you probably overthink it, but it's so funny.
Me and Ollie look exactly the same.
Really?
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I'm relaxing my running. What do I look like? Do I look professional?
You look professional.
Yeah, we know I don't.
These are all 8-week programs. The reason they're 8-week programs is to give you enough time to develop something. If you just do some longer runs for a short period of time, it isn't going to do anything. Even 8 weeks, it's a good amount of time to do something for, but to really develop your engine,
we need 16 weeks, don't we?
You're going to get that for years. It can take years, but you can keep improving along the way.
And that's taking years to get in the championship.
Well, it just takes years and years to get better and better, but that's training, and everybody else is getting better and better as well. You need to make sure that when you're doing your training, you're going to incorporate things that's going to help you develop, but then you also need to make sure you're maintaining everything else that you've developed as well. So when you're doing your training programs, you'll have some elements where it's going to be development days, where say you're developing your aerobic engine or base, and then you'll have other days when you're going to maintain your strength endurance, and everything else that you've developed from your training. So when you're planning your training year, as I said, you work backwards, have your specific prep time 8 weeks before your actual Hyrox race, and then prior to that, you're then going to put in blocks of training of 8 weeks where you're going to work on whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah, strength, that'd be a good one. Work on strength for 8 weeks. Have goals. It's so much better knowing that you've got a plan to work towards, to be honest.
Have a plan, work towards it, see improvements, then move on to the next one.
Yeah.
It's making sure as well. So say you have a race and then in 12 weeks' time you've got another race. You might then do 8 weeks of general prep stuff, then just do 4 weeks of specific prep stuff because you've just done one before. So
that's what we do.
It depends on how many races you've got as to how you can plan your training. That's why, again, work backwards with your training. Just make sure you do also plan in deload weeks where you do a bit less. Definitely if you've just had a Hyrox race and it's really taxing for you.
Comment below if you've had a week, or no, you've been training like I just mentioned for like 6 to 7 weeks, and you feel like, you can't physically do any more. That's when you know you need a deload week.
Yeah, deload week.
And don't eat, undereat.
Well, recovery is key, isn't it? We all know if you're not recovering from what you're doing, everything's just going to get harder and harder.
So going back to engine builder, I think I did 12 weeks of engine builder, but I had a deload week where it's got a bit too much. And then you joined me so you had about 6 to 7 weeks off training, or just some lightweight biking.
Yeah, I to biking rather than running.
Yeah, and to be honest, if you do have some time off, because I had 2 weeks off from running and I felt it, which is madness that you've carried on with this 8 week specific prep actually, and you've kept up with it, haven't you? So then we did the 8 week specific prep ready for October at Birmingham.
So then how our training will then go next after we've done Birmingham. So we'll fit in an 8 week block and a 4 week block. So the 8 week block will be, I reckon, engine builder.
Yeah, probably engine builder. I'm not ready to do my fast speeds thing again. And
then it'll be 4 weeks of specific prep. It's not won't even be 4 weeks, it'll be 3 weeks. So we might do 7 weeks of engine builder, 4 weeks of specific prep, taper week, and then into the race. The
best thing about January is because we started in January, so we can do a like-for-like comparison, which we've never done before.
Yeah, and all the venues are different. So at least if we're racing at Manchester, if it's the same setup, you've got a proper comparison. From what I've heard about Birmingham, it's changed each year they've done it there.
What do you mean?
Just how they've set up the course.
So it could be more laps?
No, it's a big venue. It's still going to be 2 laps.
To break it down, our training year, we did January event, Then we did our 5K run developer. Then we did the April event in London. Then we went straight onto the engine builder for about 12 weeks. You had time off, I had time off, and then we did the specific prep ready for October. But the only thing is, our year feels like it's gone by in a flash.
It does go quick. Even when you break it down into 8-week blocks, that's when you can then kind of go, a year isn't that many 8s.
No, I know.
You did the maths, you're the accountant.
No, I can't. And then we're going to do something exciting next year, but all will be revealed.
Ugh. In the next video that we're going to do, we'll go through how to break up your training week into development days, stimulation days, high performance recovery training, and restoration days. Look out for that one.